Apologize for that. We're live again. Obviously, that sucks. It kind of cut out 30 minutes of our stream. But for any of those that are watching the recording, we covered the first quarter of the Knicks. We really haven't gotten to the second quarter. We kind of covered the starters, but kind of the overall consensus is that the Knicks played phenomenal tonight. The starting five played out of their mind. Julius Randle played off the ball, played fine. There's really not that much more to get into about that. I'm sorry if you didn't watch live and you missed all that. But next time I'll make sure that doesn't happen. Let me real quick just fix our chat. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, if you are here and you're enjoying the stream, drop a sub, drop a like. It's all appreciated. Anyway, instead of the highlights, I'll now have the notes that I took in the game pulled up. Zach, do you have any comments on the bench? I know we kind of got into Obi Toppin, but let's just start from there again.
Do we go over Kevin Knox? You want to go over
you
Kevin
know,
Knox?
I think we should go over Kevin Knox, but let's for the viewers that weren't watching or that just picked up again, let's go over Obi Toppin again.
Oh, okay. Well, we didn't really see much from Obi Toppin. We saw him off the ball a lot, which is okay. Played a lot of minutes, which was nice to see. Played with that young core most of the game. But yeah, we didn't see much of Opie tonight, which is okay.
Yeah.
Saw a lot of other good guys tonight, and that's why we won. Saw a lot of good shooting. So that's what drove us tonight, and it's okay. We don't have to see Opie have a good game every game. We don't have to worry about Opie Toppin.
I agree.
Which is a good thing.
He had 6, 6, and 4, which is kind of underrated. But obviously the defense is something he needs to work on. That's going to keep him off the floor if he's not a good defensive player, because Thibodeau is such a defensive intensity coach. But he played fine tonight. Can't complain. He shot 2 for 5. He didn't display a lot of confidence, but as a 22-year-old in your 4th NBA game, I don't expect you to. So it's something you develop over time. Yeah. But yeah, we'll skip over Bryce Brown, you said? Because
Bryce Brown doesn't matter. Like, he came in.
He's a guy who won't really be playing much. He was just a guy in garbage minutes. But, it's just another guy, on a two-way deal. Kevin Knox, that's someone we didn't get to talk about before the stream got cut off. But, Zach, I'll let you start because he's a Kentucky player and you're a Kentucky fan. So
Kentucky fan.
Yeah.
See a lot of inconsistency. And we saw the consistency in him tonight.
Yes,
so
100%.
You're getting the good Kevin Knox, you're getting the bad Kevin Knox. We got the good Kevin Knox 2 in a row, and we got even better than the good Kevin Knox. We got a Kevin Knox we've never seen before.
Yes.
Like 6 for 7 from 3. That's ridiculous. He was making them all in the corners. That's what we need to see from him. And we're not going to see it a lot, but when we see it, we got to be really excited to see it. But we just got to realize that we're not going to see it much, so we have to keep our expectations extremely low with him and just be happy we saw it tonight. And we're going to see more of this. I don't think we're going to see as good as he was tonight, shooting 70%, 6 for 7 from 3, but I just got to love it and just be happy with what you get with him. And be patient, like I said.
I literally...
Great game.
And I keep using this phrase... But I could not have asked for more from Kevin Knox. He just played great. No. He played amazing. 24 minutes, 20 points. And he got us over the 100-point mark in the third quarter, which is crazy. We don't even see the Knicks score 100 in a game sometimes, but let alone the third quarter. That's just a phenomenal performance from Kevin Knox from tonight. And I couldn't agree more with you, Zach, honestly.
Yeah. We never shoot, so once we're shooting, we can get the points up.
Yeah.
That's what we did tonight. That's our problem. And we shot well.
One very disappointing loss tonight. I'm high on Ignas Brazdeikis, but tonight I wasn't very high on Ignas Brazdeikis. 17 minutes. Well, he shot 0 for 2, and he got a point, which means he made one free throw, but also missed one. 5 rebounds, 2 assists, a personal foul. I was going to say power forward. I'm tired. I saw PF. But he played good, honestly, because Ignas Brazdeikis isn't expected of much. But you know what, it happens. I was a little surprised that Miles Powell got so little minutes, especially in such a blowout win. But he didn't display he was super NBA ready in those minutes. He didn't make his 3-point shot that he took, and it was pretty open, I'd say. And obviously, he can't make every 3-pointer, but him literally just being a spot-up shooter, it kind of hurts that he can't make them. 6 minutes, can't judge 6 minutes. I'll skip him. It's just not fair. You can't even get started in 6 minutes, some guys, especially in your first NBA game ever. So, he played fine.
All those minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah,
he had 2 points.
The whole game, so.
That's exactly what you ask for in a guy like him, especially when he was in a lineup of guys that are trying to prove themselves. They all want the ball. So, you really don't. It's not his fault.
Very fair.
Theo Pinson tonight, 19 minutes, 1 for 4, which is, I'll just say this as a comparison, and I know Theo Pinson did more on the assisting and rebounding side of the ball, but he had more fouls. But he played 13 more minutes than Miles Powell, which I thought was a little ridiculous. And he had similar production, 1 for 4, missed a 3-pointer. He just got more assists, which is what I think Miles Powell probably would have done if he got that many minutes. So you should have given him a chance. But Tibbs, I guess, doesn't believe in him that much.
Yeah.
And
garbage minutes, last preseason game.
Oh, yeah.
So all these guys are just here to just pick up minutes and get the good guys ready for the season.
Yeah.
By taking those minutes. So can't go too in-depth on these guys, like, extremely, because we're not going to see them. Very likely we're not going to see them at all.
Yeah, they'll be in the Westchester Knicks organization for a while. So.
Yeah, or they'll just be sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
But more likely in the Westchester Knicks.
Like Jared Harper, he'll be on the Westchester Knicks for a lot of the season.
He will, Miles Powell, and the rest, they're just going to get cut probably.
I will say, I would not mind.
Going to make the team? No.
I'm just going to interrupt you. I wouldn't mind Miles Powell on the Westchester Knicks. It'd be a great development spot for him. He's not NBA ready yet, but he's got a lot of potential. He was, what was he? He was like some sort of player of the year in college. There's so many that I just can't even, I don't even know what it's called, but it was like some sort of award he got in his division. But he went undrafted. He was kind of the steal of the free agency draft pool of unsigned players, if you know what I'm talking about. Yep. And he played fine tonight, considering he only got 6 minutes. But Jared Harper, he played his role perfectly. He had 10 points, 2 3-pointers. Didn't shoot super efficiently, but can't ask for a guy to shoot efficiently in 19 minutes. Yeah, we played a great basketball game tonight. That's really all you can say. And
just to fill in your answer about Miles Powell, he won the Big East Conference.
Thank you.
Men's Basketball Player of the Year.
Ooh, so that sounds official.
Seton Hall's conference.
Yeah.
It's just their conference that they're in.
And I will say,
Emmanuel quickly won SEC.
Oh, good. SEC Player of the Year, right?
SEC Player.
And then Obi won like the
College Player of the Year.
College, yeah, but that's a big deal. I mean, that's
like
college.
Yeah.
So
got a lot of award guys.
Now,
good college guys.
I'm not going to break down the CAVS dudes that much because I honestly was more focused on just taking notes for the Knicks here. But Darius Garland played like trash. Isaac Okoro is a good player. He just didn't have a good game. Same with Colin Sexton. They just didn't play good. They had no momentum throughout the entire game. We're up by 20, with 4 minutes left in the first quarter, so it was already over at that point. But Shetty Osmond, whatever you're going to call him, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. He played a good game. He's been on the radar for a while. He's nothing super special. Dean Wade played very good tonight. He had some step back middies on us, on Mitch in particular, I saw. So that was pretty nice from him. But the rest of the team, I practically can't identify. I mean, I can identify Damian Dotson. Damian Dotson's a guy who honestly would have been better off staying on the Knicks if we'd offered him a deal. But he got a deal from the Cavs. He took it, and he's a guy who's got a bigger role over there than he did here. So good for him. Love you, Damian Dotson. Hope you do well in Cleveland, although you had an okay game tonight. What was that, 3 for 5, 7 points? That's not bad. He just came off the bench. It kind of sucked.
Yeah, we see this Cleveland team just not trying whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't even have their two
guys. In this game,
yeah,
they didn't put in anybody.
Yeah.
It's fair to see it in the 4th preseason game, but they should have tried a little bit in the 3rd.
Yeah.
Like I said on Wednesday, they did not make the bubble, haven't played in 9 months. You might as well play your guys.
Yeah, we came back down from 18.
Again. Yeah.
In the 3rd game. Try. They're just not a good basketball team, and that really doesn't have anything to do with them having no Kevin Love, because Kevin Love really won't make, and I know he's a good player and all, but he won't make that big of a difference when it comes to winning basketball games, especially when he's alone and he's already like 32 years old, Yeah. So you can't ask for Kevin Love to do everything for you, because eventually he's going to get injured like he does every year, and I wish the best for him, but it's Kevin Love. He gets hurt a lot. You just can't really ask for much.
And they didn't even play Drummond tonight.
Yeah,
which is fine.
it
They
was
should
fine.
have put Drummond in at least at the end of the game on Wednesday. To
Yeah.
show that they're at least like trying to stop this comeback. But
Yeah. Well, Thibodeau, obviously, I'm sorry, I'm unaware of who the Cavs coach is because they change so often. But I will say that Tom Thibodeau is the guy who will make his guys run. He'll get him into shape. And I think that's the only reason why Julius Randle even gets a starting role on this team at this point. I'm not saying Obi's better than him at this point in time, but Julius Randle, I heard, came into training camp so conditioned that Tom Thibodeau was just blown away and he had to start him, which is reasonable because if you want to get the starting role, be good at your job. Go hit the gym, hit the basketball gym as well. And if you get jacked and you get in good condition, you get acknowledgement from Thibodeau. It's just a fact.
Yeah.
But kind of veering off of the players a little bit. I will say, Toppin, he played pretty good tonight. He was a good passer. I'll say that much. He had his 4 assists, which doesn't stand out that loudly, but I know he made some pretty good passes to guys like Reggie Bullock in the corner, and I thought he missed one. And obviously it was a rare miss. I think it was his only miss tonight. But he had some really nice passes, like to Kevin Knox in the corner cross court. That was nice. He's got very good elite passing for his position.
Yeah, you don't really expect that from him.
Yeah.
With his size, his position, he's more of an offensive threat, obviously. So
yeah,
it's nice to see that. And the defense will come.
Oh,
Very
yeah.
young, got time. I don't think you should expect him to play amazing defense with his skill set, but it's a process.
And I will
This
say,
whole team's young.
Kevin Knox, and this is just a stat that I did the math in my head just now, but Kevin Knox, since Wednesday night in the fourth quarter, when he popped off, he has shot 10 for 11 from 3.
Yeah.
Since Wednesday night.
Yeah.
If he can, and he won't keep it up exactly like this, but if he can keep up a relatively good consistency where he shoots just over 40% or maybe just under 40, just over 50%, because he's shooting so well right now, just over 50% or just under 50%, I mean, this dude's going to be one of the elite three-point shooters in the NBA. Now, will he keep it up versus good NBA teams and their defenses? I don't know. We have a really tough schedule for the first half of the year, and that's a fact. I looked at it. Our first game is versus Indiana, and that's going to be our easiest game for the next 10. So
that's a problem.
It's a really biased schedule against the Knicks. So we're probably going to have a really bad start to the season, but don't let that define the season. We're definitely going to have some easier games versus teams like the Cavs that we beat tonight, and I think we're good enough to beat them versus in the regular season too, because we will have guys like Austin Rivers coming out. We totally forgot he existed for a little while, didn't we? Because he's a legit point guard. That's why quickly I don't know if he'll start or not, but he'd be a great dude to come off the bench and be our 6th man.
Yeah, my ideal, this obviously won't happen, but the ideal backcourt is honestly quickly at the 1 and then Austin at the 2.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
put RJ at the 3, honestly.
I could see it. I don't have a problem with it. I could see a lineup of something along the lines of maybe Quickly would start at the 2. I don't know if he's that much of an established passer yet, although he had some good ones tonight. Austin Rivers is more of a pure point guard versus him. So Austin at the 1, Quickly, RJ, Julius, and then Mitch or Noel. That's kind of interchangeable, but I could definitely see that as a starting lineup. I think that's a good starting lineup, a very fair one as well. And I think we can actually win some games with that team. But we need to trade Julius away, in my opinion. He's a good player, which is why we should get value for him now while we still can, because I don't see us accepting his team option next year. And if we do, we have a different conversation, because then no one's going to want a 1-year deal from Julius Randle. You know? So honestly, we should trade him at the trade deadline. And he's been playing, honestly, fine in these last few games. I saw another Ian Bagley report on Twitter mid-game, and apparently Julius Randle had 19 assists in the last few preseason games and 10 turnovers. Now, that doesn't sound good, but his average last year was 3 assists a game and 3 turnovers a game. So he's lowered the turnover amount, which is, impressive, but not impressive because it's still 10 turnovers. But we see that him playing off the ball has prevented him from getting turnovers. When he plays on the ball, he gets turnovers. When he's a point forward, he gets turnovers. It's just a fact. You see the stats, that's what happens.
Do you honestly would expect that from him? Why
Yes.
would you expect him to not turn the ball over?
You
He's not a
can't
ball
even,
handler.
you can't even expect power forwards to dribble. You don't see Anthony Davis, and he can do it, but you don't see Anthony Davis dribbling the ball up the floor 24/7 because he's a power forward, because LeBron does that for him. And this is not a good comparison, but let Austin Rivers be your LeBron, Julius Randle. Let him bring it up the floor. Come on. But I'll say one more thing about the first quarter of basketball. We shot 59% in the first quarter. That is in big, big respect to Quickly from that, because he pretty much, I think he didn't miss a shot in the first quarter, and if he did, it was only one or two. So he kind of carried our percentage there. But we had a 23-point lead at that point, 41-18. But yeah, Isaac Okoro had 4 fouls at the 7:12 mark of the second quarter. Not that it wasn't already over by that point, because we were up by 20 plus. But, we baited him into a lot of fouls tonight. And guys like Mitch stayed out of foul trouble. So you see the fouls really have a lot to do with the momentum.
Yeah, and we saw Mitch stay straight up, and he still got 4 blocks.
Exactly. That's what we need, Mitch. Use your size against the players. Just do it.
And he'll get his minutes. So
Yeah.
he'll be happy. Stay straight up. You'll get your blocks.
Yeah.
As lengthy as could be. So you're just going to get your blocks. That's how it works. So stay out of foul trouble, stay straight up, and you're going to get your minutes.
And I feel like he played...
We need him to get his minutes.
Oh, 100%. Without him, we're not a good basketball team. And it's not our fault. It's Mitch's fault. He needs to stay out of trouble.
You have Noel running the 5.
Yeah, but it's just not serviceable enough. It's a guy we need to work on, Julius Randle, because he's our long term.
Exactly.
Nerlens Noel will probably be on. He might even be on. He might be back in OKC or Philadelphia next year. He's not going to be on the team next year. And if he is, it's another 1 year, $5 million deal. Like, it's just not, the future. We need Mitch. I see if anyone's in the chat, and I don't expect anyone to be because our stream got totally botched. But if anybody's in the chat and they want to ask any questions, any comments, all ears. But yeah, I also had a note that what's his name? And I'm sure you saw this at Kentucky, because I don't watch the Kentucky games, but I should, because they got some good prospects over there this year. Is that Quickly both? He both has a lethal floater game, and I'm just comparing it because it looks just like it. He draws fouls like James Harden. I mean, when he's bringing the ball up, he brings it up low. He gets someone to wrap his wrist, and he just brings it up. They get a foul. It's like a 10-year NBA vet type of call, but he's doing it. I mean, that's clearly he's advanced. Calipari taught him the ways. Exactly. Thibodeau taught him the ways. He probably watched a lot of film. And it's all props to him. He probably practiced it, and it's paying off because he got to the line a few times tonight. But I will say, and you can't really judge everything, but it was at the start of the third quarter. You know what you saw. Did you see the 2 free throws?
From Quickly?
Yeah.
Yeah, the one. Did he miss one?
He missed both in a row.
Yeah. I saw the second miss. I did not see the first miss, but I know
he missed both.
It's a shock, I know. He doesn't miss his free throws. But we're not going to see that often, let's be real.
Yeah.
He hits his free throws.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. I have a comment on Kyrie Irving, and you can have your own opinions on this, people in the chat. This is my own personal opinion if we're talking about opinions. Kyrie Irving is looking forward to, or not looking forward to, but he's going to sage every game this season, which means he's going to do a spiritual thing where he takes this wood and he burns it in ashes and it smokes around. He walks around the arena with it. It's some sort of demonic ritual. But what's going on with Kyrie, man?
So when you see a guy going downhill so fast,
it's like an Antonio Brown situation,
but
man.
You see that. Yeah. Exactly. But he's an NBA player, so we're not going to be like CTE. We're not going to freak out.
No, it's just insanity at that point.
It's just insanity.
Yeah. But you know what? Kyrie, do your thing. You're very good at basketball, and I know you'll kick our ass this season. So just do your sage thing if you want. I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's an Antonio Brown situation, but it's not from head injuries. He's just going crazy.
Mm-hmm. But I mentioned that RJ needs to take more time on his open shots. Late in the second quarter, he had a really wide open three-pointer. And if you want to talk about him shooting from 3, he just can't do it. And it's because he rushes them. He got the ball. No one's behind him. No one's in front of him. or even to the side of him. He's got a wide open whole half of the court at that point, and he just chucks it. I mean, the second he gets the ball, he's in the air. Take your time, and that's another thing I have on Obi. You need to take your time on those types of shots, because if you don't take your time, then what type of result are you going to get? Not a positive one, in my opinion.
Yeah, I remember that an example of what you're talking about, Opie, when they were passing the ball around. I think it was around the third or fourth quarter, second half for sure. And they passed it to Opie. Opie was going to shoot it. He passed it back. They passed it back to him and just shot it immediately.
Exactly. Not a good decision.
Like you were saying, don't rush your shots.
And I remember that exact play as well. The problem is that Opie actually had the shot open in the first place.
Exactly.
And it's a confidence issue, I think, at that point. He doesn't have the ball in his hands nearly as much as he did in Dayton. It's definitely a change in play. He's going to take time to adjust. And you got guys like Miles Powell, too. You know, they're playing with professional NBA players. And these guys are the real deal. They deserve the ball. They need the ball. And they're not going to be the number one option anymore like they were at their colleges. But Emmanuel quickly fits in quite well because he spent 2 years under Calipari at Kentucky. And he played with guys like Tyler Hero. Did he play with guys like De'Aaron Fox? Or am I totally wrong on that? No, that's different years. 1 year off. I mean, he played with some talented dudes at Kentucky. So you really do expect him to kind of be able to adjust a little bit faster than these superstar players out of college. It's just a fact. You saw guys like John Morant. Actually, no. A better comparison would be Trae Young. Coming out of Oklahoma State. I think he went to Oklahoma State, right?
Who'd you say? Sorry.
Trae Young. It was like Oklahoma or Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma.
Right. So he comes out of Oklahoma, and he's playing very good in college, and there's a lot of questions to his legitimacy in the NBA. And I remember the first half of his rookie season, he was a bust. He was labeled as a bust. He averaged like 7 or 8 points a game. And now you see Trae Young, and he's a 30-point-per-game scorer. So you really can't even rule the guys out in the first half of the season. You have to give them at least a full season or two to develop. But now I understand with Obi, he's 22 years old. He's already at that age where he should be a good player. Still adjusting. It's a faster pace. He's clearly not in the best shape. He could definitely add a lot of muscle. Probably about 20 or 30 pounds of muscle could be added on. And at that point, he's going to be a dominant force. He's one of the most athletic players in the league based on the stats that I heard from training camp. So just use it.
Yeah. I think we take it for granted how fast these NBA players are getting, like becoming these star players. Like in other sports, baseball, it takes you to like you're 27 or 26 to make it to the MLB. NBA players getting put in at like 19.
Yeah.
And then with this high school, it's going to be 18. So we just got to relax. Opie, he had all 4 years of college, but you got to develop. And other guys don't develop as fast, and Opie might be one of those guys.
I mean, we got Sekou Doumbouya and Kevin Knox. When they got into the league, they were 18 years old. We expected way too much from an 18-year-old Kevin Knox. And I'm just going to say it, not even Kobe. Kobe got into the league when he was 17 or 18 years old. He was really young. And he wasn't good. It's a fact. He came off the bench. He scored I think it was 9 or 10 points per game. It's not a lot to ask for. Because he's coming off the bench as an 18-year-old kid. I don't think Kevin Knox or Sekou Doumbouya are Kobe. But I think that giving them a chance is appropriate. Especially because how they've been playing recently. And Sekou's not on the team. I'm just using him as a young player comparison. And he played good versus us when we played him. 23 points. So you really just got to let those young guys develop. You got to let them get into the pace of the NBA, and it's a lot faster. RJ Barrett, I know, said in one of his media day interviews, they asked him, how he felt about kind of going into his second year, and he said something along the lines, and I'm paraphrasing. He said, it's a slower game now. I've, kind of adjusted to it. I'm more relaxed, and he's going to play a better game because of it, and we saw that tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
Now, I do want to get a little bit into the second half of the game, although I know it wasn't extremely significant. I mentioned at one point in my notes here that we do need more shooters, and I also mentioned that earlier in the stream before it got cut off. But if we had shooters like Duncan Robinson on our team, which we could draft guys like that and develop them to be guys like Duncan Robinson or J.J. Redick, if we got a guy like that on the team, we're a serious issue. Because then they can't really play an effective zone against us, like a 2-3, like they played in the first 2 games of the season. The Pistons did. But tonight they played a 3-2 for part of the game in the second quarter, and they couldn't break our shooting because we were playing that good. Like, the Warriors are that good, or at least the prime Warriors were. I remember watching the 2017-18 Warriors with Kevin Durant on that team, and I know this is no superstar team, but the amount of shooting they had was what made them unstoppable. They had Clay, Steph, KD, Draymond, who's an underrated shooter at that point. He didn't do that bad that season. But, they'd always come out and they'd surprise the teams with their shooting, and there's nothing you can do to stop them. Just like the Heat did, with Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero.
Yeah.
So, that's how you make a playoff push. That's how you make a finals push, and that's what we need on this team. Just get guys like Reggie Bullock, like you got. He's a serviceable shooter. Kevin Knox is developing into a serviceable shooter. You got R.J. Barrett, who you can hope will become a shooter because you need him to be that, or teams will just play off of him and let him shoot. And Mitch could develop a mid-range game, obviously. But it all kind of comes together with trading Randall. Because if you trade Randall, then you're set.
Yeah. We see now in the NBA that if you want to be really good, you gotta be able to shoot, obviously. This Knicks team's never been able to shoot, it feels like.
I agree.
So if they're starting to develop these starters, they brought in quickly. Reggie Bullock, like you said, Kevin Knox, we've seen. He is a shooter. It's just inconsistent shooter, but he is a shooter. So if they just bring more of those guys in. We brought in Opie, who's not a shooter. But his talent is just, you can't pass on a talent like that.
He's kind of off the charts with his talent. He just hasn't been involved in the offense. He only got 5 shots, and that's the 8th pick we're talking about.
Well, tonight's offense was a lot of shooting. He can't shoot.
Well, I say he can shoot. He's just had a bad start so far.
Yeah, he's not a primary shooter, though, like these guys.
No, he's not.
And you saw the confidence, like we were talking about with that 3.
Yeah, it was lacking.
So, yeah.
And
so you're not going to make threes if you're not confident in making threes. Like, RJ Barrett's very confident, it feels like.
Well, that's something he built up, because I remember last season particularly, that was a conversation we had. RJ Barrett didn't look confident. And that was true. He didn't. But guess what? He built that up over time, and it's really something that I didn't see coming, because I didn't know he was just going to, over an off season, become as good as he was. And I know Zach and me talked, and I'm going to be honest, I know, Zach, you weren't that high. You weren't that high on RJ coming into the season, right?
Yeah. I just hate inconsistent guys. And
yeah.
He was extremely inconsistent.
Understandable.
Kevin Knox was extremely inconsistent.
2 guys that have proven us wrong this offseason in a way.
Yeah, this preseason so far. And maybe that was during the offseason, but we got to see more of Kevin Knox.
I heard Mikal Bridges.
We didn't see great shooting.
Mikal Bridges was just injured.
Oh, really?
Kind of by LeBron James, actually. Undercut. Scary fall, something like that. I'm just kind of interested because Miles Bridges is a very good player, and I kind of like watching him. Oh,
Miles
that's bad.
or Mikal?
No, that's really bad. Oh, Mikal, I'm sorry.
So on the Suns.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, my God. Okay, yeah. That was nasty. LeBron deserves a flagrant 2 for that. Anyway. Yeah, there's really not much more Knicks, in my opinion, to talk about. We just played a really overall good game tonight. And I know it doesn't say it, and I know it won't show in the recording, but we've been live for over an hour at this point. So unless you have any comments to make, any questions you want to address, Zach, I'm all ears to ending the stream at this point.
Yeah, I feel like we really covered everything. It was just a great game. It was a great offensive game, great defensive game, great shooting game, like we talked about. So I'm just excited. That was a great way to finish. We got a lot of young guys. We saw a lot of young guys.
Yes.
It's a great way to end the preseason, great way to go into the season. So I'm just excited to watch games that finally count, stats that finally count. And we can really, if a guy plays really bad, we can really go down on him.
Yeah, we can rip into him at that point. All right. I really appreciate anyone who's watching. Sorry the stream got cut short in the middle when we were having such a good conversation. But anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed, and if you did, please drop a like, subscribe. Unfortunately, it cleared, but there was links to our Instagram and Twitter. in the description, but I'll just say it here if you're willing to look it up. Our Instagram is at Knicks4Clicks official, number 4. And our Twitter is at ClicksKnicks4. But yeah, we're active on there. Follow and like our posts for everything Knicks. We're all ears to any comments or questions. And I hope you all have a really good night. Be safe and bye now.
Yep.